You know that feeling. You are sitting alone in your room or walking down an empty street at night, and suddenly the hair on the back of your neck stands up. A cold prickle runs down your spine. Your heart skips a beat. You stop. You hold your breath. You turn around slowly, absolutely convinced that someone is standing there watching you. But there is no one. The room is empty. The street is silent. So you laugh. You shake your head. You tell yourself, don't be stupid. It's just paranoia. It's just my imagination playing tricks on me. And you go back to what you were doing. I am here to tell you that you are wrong. It was not paranoia. It was not your imagination. And you should not have laughed, because that feeling, that sudden, terrifying certainty that you are being watched, that is not a glitch in your brain. That is an alarm, a sophisticated, ancient, biological alarm system that just detected something your conscious mind missed. Something saw you, or heard you, or smelled you, and your brain knows it even if you do not. By the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly what that feeling is. You are going to learn about the hidden senses you do not even know you possess. Senses that can detect a gaze from behind, hear sounds that are silent, and smell emotions floating in the air. And the next time you feel that prickle on your neck, you won't laugh. You will run. Let's start with your eyes, because what you think you see is a lie. You believe you see the world like a camera, sharp, clear, detailed, but that is only a tiny part of your vision. That is your central focus, the what is it system. It is slow. It takes time to process. It needs light and attention, but you have another set of eyes, hidden ones. This is your peripheral vision, the where is it system. It is blurry, it is black and white, it is primitive, but it is incredibly fast. And it does one thing better than any machine humans have ever built. It detects gaze. Evolution designed your peripheral vision for one specific purpose: to notice the predator hiding in the bushes before it eats you. It is wired directly into your amygdala, the fear center of your brain. It bypasses your thinking mind entirely. Here's what happens when you get that watched feeling. Your peripheral vision caught something. A tiny shadow moving against the grain, a pattern of light that looks like two eyes staring, a micro movement that shouldn't be there. Your conscious mind was too busy looking at your phone or thinking about your day to notice, but your ancient brain saw it and it screamed. It didn't send you a memo. It didn't say, excuse me, there is a potential threat at 4 o'clock. No, it hit the panic button. It dumped adrenaline into your blood. It tightened your scalp muscles to pull your ears back. That is why your hair stands up. It forced you to freeze. That feeling of being watched is not a feeling. It is a biological override command. Your brain is saying, I saw something. Stop moving. Locate the threat. Now. So when you turn around and see nothing, it does not mean nothing was there. It means whatever was there hid. Or maybe it was just a shadow, but your brain would rather make you scared of a shadow than let you be eaten by a tiger. But wait, it gets darker, because sometimes you feel watched, even when your eyes are closed, even when you are in a windowless room, even when you are completely blindfolded. How does your brain know then? The answer lies in a sound you cannot hear. Right now, the air around you is filled with noise. Most of it you can hear. Traffic, voices, wind. But there is a layer of sound underneath it all. A low, deep, vibrating hum called infrasound. Infrasound creates waves so long and so low, below 20 hertz, that your ears cannot register them as noise. You will never hear infrasound, but your body feels it. These waves pass through walls, they pass through the ground, they pass through you, and in nature, infrasound is almost always bad news. It is the sound of an earthquake starting, the sound of a volcano waking up, the sound of a tiger's chest vibrating just before it roars. When your inner ear detects these silent vibrations, it does not send a signal to your auditory cortex. It sends a signal to your threat detection system. And what does that signal feel like? It feels like dread. It feels like pressure on your chest. It feels like a presence in the room. Scientists have done experiments. They took people into a concert hall and secretly played infrasound during some pieces of music. The audience couldn't hear it, but during those pieces, people reported feeling suddenly anxious, sad, scared. Some even said they felt shivers down their spine or a sense of coldness. So that old house that feels creepy, that basement where you feel like someone is standing behind you, it might not be a ghost. It might be a loose fan blade in the ventilation system, or traffic rumbling miles away, or the wind hitting the building at just the right angle to create a standing wave of fear. Your conscious mind hears silence. Your ancient brain hears a monster, and it creates the feeling of a presence to make you leave. Is it paranoia? No, it is physics. But we are not done, because there is a third way your brain detects danger, a way that is so strange most people refuse to believe it is real. You can smell a stare. Okay, not literally, you cannot smell eyeballs, but you can smell the intention behind them. Humans are animals. We like to pretend we aren't, but we are. And like all animals, we communicate with chemicals. When a person is angry or afraid or hunting, their body chemistry changes. They release subtle odorless signals in their sweat and breath called chemosignals. You cannot smell these signals consciously. You won't walk into a room and sniff and say, someone here is angry. But your nose knows. There is a direct highway from your nose to your brain's emotional center. If someone is hiding in a dark room waiting to hurt you, their body is pumping out stress hormones. Those hormones are leaking into the air. You walk in, you breathe, you smell nothing, but your brain tastes the threat. It picks up the chemical signature of another predator, and instantly it triggers the being watched feeling. It tells you to get out. This is why you sometimes take an instant dislike to a stranger before they have even said a word, or why you walk into a room and the vibe feels off. You are literally smelling the tension in the air. So let's recap. Your peripheral vision sees shadows your eyes miss. Your inner ear feels vibrations your ears can't hear. Your nose detects chemicals you can't smell. All of these senses are feeding data into a part of your brain that never sleeps, a part that does not care about logic or reason or being polite. It only cares about keeping you alive. When all these signals align, when the shadow moves and the infrasound hums and the chemical scent drifts in, your brain pulls the alarm. That prickle on your neck, that is not paranoia. That is millions of years of evolution screaming at you to pay attention. But here is the most disturbing part, the part that really keeps me up at night. Sometimes the system is wrong. A shadow is just a shadow. A vibration is just a truck. But the system is designed to be safe, not accurate. It is better to be scared of nothing than to be dead because you ignored something. However, sometimes the system is right. Think about the times you felt watched and brushed it off. The times you told yourself you were being silly. How many times were you actually right? How many times was there someone there, just out of sight, watching you pass by? How many times did you walk past a threat that decided, for whatever reason, not to strike that night? You will never know, because the only times you confirm the feeling is when you turn around and see nothing. When you turn around and see something, the story usually ends differently. So, the next time you are alone in the dark, the next time the house is quiet, the next time that cold shiver runs down your spine, and every instinct in your body screams, "Look behind you!" Do not laugh. Do not tell yourself you are crazy. Listen to it, because your brain has detected something, and it might be the only thing standing between you and whatever is watching you from the dark. But here is where it gets truly disturbing, because there is one more piece to this puzzle, one final sense that your brain is using to track threats. And this one doesn't involve your eyes, your ears, or your nose. It involves your brain's ability to predict the future. Your brain is not just recording reality, it is simulating it. Every second you are alive, your brain is running a massive, complex simulation of the world around you. It knows where the walls are. It knows how the floor should feel. It knows what sounds are normal. It builds a model of safety. When you are walking down a street, your brain predicts what should happen next. Street lights should hum. Cars should pass. Shadows should stay still. But sometimes reality glitches. Sometimes there's a tiny discrepancy, a mismatch between what your brain predicted and what actually happened. Maybe a bird stopped singing. Maybe the air pressure changed slightly because a door opened behind you. Maybe the acoustic reflection of your own footsteps changed because someone else stepped into the space. These clues are microscopic. They are too small for your conscious mind to process, but your predictive brain notices. It sees the glitch in the matrix. It realizes that the safe world model is broken, and it generates an error signal. That error signal is the feeling of being watched. It is a vague, directionless anxiety, a feeling that something is wrong, but you can't point to what it is. It is your brain telling you the data doesn't match the model. There is an unknown variable in the equation. Find it. This is why people often report feeling watched just before something bad happens, before an assault, before an accident, before a discovery. Victims often say, "I just had a bad feeling. Something told me not to go down that alley. I felt like I wasn't alone." That wasn't magic. That was their predictive brain noticing a pattern of danger, the silence, the shadows, the smell, the vibrations, and screaming at them to run. But here is the problem. We have trained ourselves to ignore it. We live in a world of safety. We live in houses with locks and lights. We have taught ourselves that monsters aren't real, that ghosts don't exist, that the feeling of being watched is just silly. We suppress the alarm. We rationalize the fear. We tell the ancient sentry in our brain to shut up. And that is a dangerous game to play. Because while we have built cities and laws, our biology hasn't changed. We are still the same creatures who huddled in caves, listening for the snap of a twig that meant a saber-toothed tiger was coming. That sentry is still there for a reason. There is a phenomenon called scopaesthesia. It is the sense of being stared at. Scientists have debated it for decades. Can you really feel someone staring at the back of your head? Skeptics say no. They say it's just confirmation bias. You turn around, and if someone happens to be looking, you remember it. If no one is looking, you forget. But military snipers disagree. Martial artists disagree. Hunters disagree. They will tell you that a stare has weight, that intent has a physical presence. And recent studies into social attention suggest they might be right. We are hyper-attuned to gaze direction. Our brains possess dedicated eye detection cells. We can spot someone looking at us from across a crowded room almost instantly. It is possible, just possible, that this detection system is more sensitive than we ever imagined, that it can pick up on subtle cues of body language and orientation from the very periphery of our awareness, creating the illusion of a sixth sense. So what should you do? The next time you feel it, the next time the silence feels heavy, don't panic. Panic makes you stupid. But don't dismiss it either. Stop, listen, look, trust the error signal. If your brain says run, run. If your brain says leave, leave. If your brain says lock the door, lock the door. It costs you nothing to be wrong. It costs you everything to be right and do nothing. Because in the end, that feeling isn't about ghosts. It isn't about monsters under the bed. It is about you. It is about the incredible, terrifying machinery of your own survival. It is a reminder that you are not just a person walking through the world. You are a radar, a sensor array, a biological weapon designed to stay alive. And that cold prickle on your neck, that is just your brain whispering, I see you, even if you don't see me. So tonight, sleep well. And if you wake up in the middle of the night feeling like someone is standing in the corner of your room, don't open your eyes. Just trust that your brain knows what it's doing. And maybe, just maybe, wait for morning. Wait, I am not done yet, because there is one final possibility I have not mentioned, and it is the most disturbing one of all. We have talked about peripheral vision. We have talked about infrasound. We have talked about chemical signals and predictive errors, all perfectly scientific, all perfectly logical, but there is a flaw in the logic. All of these explanations assume there is something physical to detect, a person, a sound, a vibration, a smell. But what happens when you feel watched in a place that is truly, absolutely empty? You know the places I mean. A soundproof room, a deep cave, the middle of a desert at night, places where there is no infrasound from traffic, no other people to release chemicals, no shadows to trick your eyes. And yet people still feel it. Astronauts in space feel it. Solo sailors in the middle of the ocean feel it. Explorers in the Arctic feel it. They call it the third man factor. It is a well-documented phenomenon. People in extreme isolation often report the overwhelming sensation that another person is with them. They feel a presence. Sometimes they even hear a voice offering comfort or guidance. Ernest Shackleton felt it in Antarctica. Charles Lindbergh felt it. Neuroscientists have a theory for this too. They think that when your brain is deprived of social contact, it hallucinates a companion. It invents a watcher to keep you company, to keep you sane. Think about what that means, that feeling of being watched. It might not be a threat detection system at all. It might be a loneliness detection system. Your brain is so hardwired for connection, so desperate for another human presence, that when it cannot find one, it creates one. It splits your own consciousness. It takes a piece of you and projects it outside your body. It creates a ghost of yourself to stand behind you, just so you don't have to be alone in the dark. So that presence in the corner of your room, it might be you. It might be your own mind fracturing under the weight of silence, creating a phantom to watch over you. And I don't know which is scarier, the idea that someone is hiding in the dark, watching you, or the idea that you are so alone, your brain had to invent a monster just to fill the empty space. Because if it is you, if that watcher is a part of your own mind, then you can never escape it. You can never run away. You can never lock the door against it. It will always be there, watching, waiting, right behind your eyes. So the next time you feel that prickle, the next time you turn around and see nothing, don't be afraid of who is there. Be afraid of who isn't. Because in the end, the only thing worse than being watched is being truly, utterly alone.